How you doing, guys? This is going to be really interesting. Yeah, it is going to be interesting, Don. How are you? Dave, how are you? Adders, how are you? Shane, Pamela, good afternoon. From Atlanta, good afternoon. 0.75. Yeah, we'll see. It's either going to be 0.75 or 50. I would be shocked if it's 100, to be honest. If it's 100 basis points, watch out below. you know, yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Yeah, to be honest, I mean, I'm quite happy with the other day. I'm happy, hitting 100, over 100, 100 people on the stream was brilliant. Yeah, we smashed it, Pamela. Hit the like button, man. Hit the like button. I put a nice little thumbnail up there as well. Hopefully, it should attract some viewers, whatever. If you're not already subscribed, in fact, I know you all are, so don't bother. It's fine. Brian, how are you? Dylan, how are you? Yeah, smash the like button. Thank you, mate. So I'll give it a few seconds. Let me just check the US equities. US equities have slowed down a little, to be honest. And it's all the run up to, this kind of announcement, which is basically coming in roughly 13 minutes. So we should see the effects be just before. Here's the thing. You'll see the effects just before it's about to happen. Generally on the US equities market first, because they have access to, some brokerage firms, obviously, and the big boys, they have access to, sort of first-hand information. They'll see the numbers a few seconds before we will, sometimes up to 30 seconds before. So that makes it a massive difference in this market. Trust me, big difference. But we'll see. We'll see how we kind of fare. Let me just move this slightly. Yeah. Getting a bit of 1 second, guys. Just kind of do that. Is that a little bit better? Not really. Let me do this. All right, that just takes the edge off a bit. That's fine. Yeah, I've got the sun beaming through. I can't take the blinds down. Everything's just a mess at the minute. So the lighting's going to be a bit off. Just ignore this. I'm going to sort that out at some point. So yeah. Nice. Ryan, how are you? Anchor, how are you? Mike, how are you? Momo, the Craiglin, Ashley. Yeah, I know, mate. I know, but still, I mean, I'm quite happy with the people that come because ultimately, it's, you guys want to be here, Yeah, I know. It's gonna listen. This is gonna. I'll be up in the thousands. I'm telling you. Not because I'm good or anything, but I think the information that we provide is pretty spot on. So look, we're going to be hanging around for a little while, right? Sort of 10 minutes. If you guys got any questions, throw them out now. And I'll start addressing those while we're waiting for the Fed announcement. And I'll just have a quick look through, where we're at. Obviously, we're expecting 20K. Yeah, this is something that we've been expecting for some time. It's very likely to happen. I can't see Bitcoin not hitting 20K today, right? We're literally right in the middle of an imbalance. It has to go to 20K to rebalance. So for me, it's almost a given. You can see, just starting to see a little bit of uptick. And when I say uptick, I don't mean up in direction. I just mean uptick in volume. A little bit of an uptick in volume. I best get my phone ready. I've got my phone to hand just in case. Yeah, just in case. If I go off stream, it's because I'm doing something silly, right? Little bit, very small uptick in volume. And I apologize now if I zone out, yeah, but when I'm doing stuff like this, I'm really, really focused. Yeah, slight uptick. So yeah, 9 minutes to go. We'll see what that announcement says. We may get nothing. That is a possibility. Unlikely, but it is a possibility, So we'll see. Welcome everybody. 94 viewers. Guys, thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that like button. I'm here for the carnage. Bring it on. Yes, sister. Yeah, good anchor. Really, really good. Awesome silence. Yeah, I'm always good, man. Always. Even when I'm not. Yeah, this is an interesting one, Alex. Fed squeeze in the middle class. Expect once the stock market crash, that money will pour into commodities. Crypto will recover much faster. Absolutely. I believe the same. Did I throw the Yankees hat away? Absolutely not. Not a chance, Don. And there we go. 100 viewers. Guys, thank you. Thank you so much. RIP Band-Aid off at 100 basis points. That would be something. So I mean, just do it, get it out the way. Let's just go through this nonsense and then get some really nice recovery. So while waiting for the announcement, evening, Joe, while waiting for the announcements, what's your thoughts on Cardano relative strength against Bitcoin? Let's take a look. Let's go to our funky Tesla chart. This is the one that we like to keep messing around with. Let's do $88. So obviously, I mean, I keep an eye on Cardano. You can see the level down here, which has been on my chart for a very long time, to be honest. Puts us around about sort of 38. To be honest, it's showing, I'd say it's showing just a fraction of relative strength, but it's negligible. It's really not going to make any difference whatsoever. If Bitcoin starts to move, Cardano will move. You know, it's just going to move with it. ADA is going to go, and there's pretty much nothing going to stop that. So uptick, yep, uptick still there. That's good. A little bit of volume. Here's the thing, right? One of the challenging things, right, about these types of markets is pretty much everything's going to be affected, right? There's not really much we can do about that. And it's very easy. Really listen, please, to what I'm going to say, right? It's so easy to just look at all of these pairs and currencies and coins and tokens and projects and everything, right? And say, well, everything's just low, right? So we may as well just buy. It doesn't matter what you buy. You're going to make money. Do not fall into that trap. Do not fall into the trap of assuming that just because everything is down, that you're going to make money on anything that you buy during this downturn, right? When we get this kind of next bull cycle up, a lot of projects, a lot of coins, a lot of tokens are going to get decimated while all of this is going on. And this is why we're starting to see, if you've got companies like Celsius already struggling, Terra struggling, or actually, to be fair, Terra's pretty much done. You know, you've got Tron stablecoin issues and whatnot. How you doing, Gavin, man? You're right. There's a lot of problems out there already with these big players, you know, that are moving around hundreds and hundreds, if not billions, you know, in currency. Just be careful. Yeah. Focus on the projects that make the most sense. You know what I mean? To you. My Discord is always open. Links in the description below to both RFTX, right, and the LSPTV Discord. Any questions that you've got, if you're not sure about something, I'll always do my best to kind of steer you in the non-financial direction, right, or non-financial advice direction. You know, this you know, I'm kind of here for pretty much everybody. Anybody that has a problem or issue or wants to kind of navigate this market, you know, you're more than welcome to pop in there and have a chat. So yeah, this is very interesting. Very interesting. This is the hourly chart of Bitcoin. Let's take a look at US equities. Again, still flat. Dollar index taking a little bit of a small downtick. Let's get the dollar index up on the 15-minute. Let you into my world a little bit. Some of the things that I like to do. Interesting. Very interesting. 5 more minutes, guys. 5 more minutes. Just want to see what the reaction is on Bitcoin first. With the reaction on Bitcoin is pretty much going to move the entire market. So that's what you want to focus on. I'm not sure what happened to Stack Finance, to be honest. I need to take a look at that, Dylan. I did hear about it today, obviously, in lots of different places. I've really not had a chance to kind of look into that. It's a shame. It's a shame. Obviously, nobody wants to see that. I really hope, you know, investors get their money back. From my understanding, it's basically failed. From my understanding, don't take that at face value because I'm not 100%. I need to, I would need to look into that. And I certainly wouldn't want to be saying something that's going to potentially cause any issues. So all-time high viewership incoming. Yeah, man. Yeah. We'll see, Alan. We'll see. What's your ETH bound again? James, you're asking 750. If Bitcoin really goes to the downside, sort of sub 20 and really starts to move, the numbers that we're paying attention to on Ethereum, 750 to around about 800, give or take. And then on Binance, key levels are going to be 185. So basically 200, 185 and 148. These are the key levels, at least the ones that I'm paying attention to. What's happening, Tango? You're right, mate. Moved your USD into fiat. I like this. Well done, Sergio. It's good thinking, my man. What do I think of Ethereum? I think Ethereum is having a lot of problems, but I don't think they're going anywhere. It's a big player, obviously. And I think over time, the blue chips, as they call them, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance, some of the big players, I think they will recover pretty well. And then ultimately, on that next kind of cycle round, bull run, whatever you want to call it, I think we're going to be in a very strong position. Some of these big players are going to do really, really well. But the problem is with Ethereum, like with Bitcoin, you're just looking at face value Bitcoin. It doesn't change. It just, it gets mined. You do have a halving every 4 years, stuff like that, but there's nothing else. With Ethereum, obviously, you've got the merge, you have the difficulty bomb, you've got some things that are constantly going on with Ethereum all the time. So ultimately that puts Ethereum in a slightly different bracket because there's other things that can affect it. Whereas Bitcoin pretty much affects the entire market. It's the big one. So, it is what it is. Ivalio Kichev, Galispera. Tiganis. Love it. I've got nothing to say about Chronos at the moment. I'm looking into it. So I might, make sure you're in the Discord because I'll probably throw something out about that at some point. Obviously I've got a lot to do, but it's on the radar. It's 2 more minutes, right? So I'm going to focus in a second. But why are cryptos? Pamela's asking, why are cryptos going up right now to make profit before it dumps? Not necessarily. It depends. There's a lot of variables in play right now. 111 all-time high, or was it 112? 112. But again, guys, thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate it. But there's a lot of factors in play. It's not just a question of a few things moving here and there, and that's it. There's people, like, the markets are moving because maybe they know that the interest rate is going to be one thing. So there you go. 100% the interest rate's just been released. Did you see that downtick on Bitcoin, right? Let's get this out of the way. Sorry, guys. So you see that downtick on Bitcoin, right? 1 second. What are we saying? It's literally on the wire. Now, pay attention. You like, I don't know if you guys saw, you see this downtick here. Something was already released pre-release, right? So some of the big players already know what the announcement or what the rate announcement is going to be. For us at the moment, obviously just using Forex Factory, we still don't know. Another minute or so. But we can just watch Bitcoin. We can watch Bitcoin and just get a feel for what the markets are doing. I'm going to be bouncing around for a second. See the downtick on the dollar. Nice. So let's just keep an eye on Bitcoin. So there is your 7 o'clock, right? Now here's the thing. Pay attention to this. A lot of this has already been priced in, right? So because a lot of this has already been priced in, here's the interesting thing. Most big players are going to be waiting for this, the FOMC press conference, right, at 7:30. That's the thing. This is why I said, so 175. Yeah. Oh, wow. 25 basis points. Yeah. Look at the uptick on market. Dollar's taking a bit of a drop. So markets are doing all right. That is very interesting. 25 basis points. Wow. I was expecting a lot more than that. Let me get back to the chat and see what you lot are saying. Let's get this chart up as well so we can see what's going on. I'm going to keep the chart up of Bitcoin up. I'm going to zoom right in because I want to see the ticks as we're moving. Very, very interesting. I'm still bullish on EGC long term, long term. Polygon, can't really go into that right now, Mr. Radiation. Maybe in a little while. 117, man. We smashed it. Nice one, guys. Thank you. Appreciate you too, Anchor. Thank you. Yeah, 175. That is very interesting. That is very, very interesting. 1.75%. You know, I was expecting more. And this is actually very good news for stability in the market for now. This is going to give everybody a little bit of time to just kind of reassess. But it's going to be interesting. Yeah, 25 basis points. It basically means 0.25%. Yeah. So if you say 10 basis points, it's 0.10%. If you said 100 basis points, it means 1%, basically. That's basically what it means. But yeah, a 0.25, yeah, increase the interest rate. That means the quantitative tightening is being done very, very methodically and very slowly. Either way, it's going to be very difficult to control inflation. We know this. We know that this is going to be a continued effect. But ultimately, going forward now, we have to, first wait and see what happens at 7:30 during this press conference. The after effects of that can be, hours after. Yeah, it could be almost immediate. It could be something is said during that press release. Then the markets react to that. Or it could be a couple of hours later. It could be a day later. But generally, it's not bang on 7:30. It's a release. It's a press conference where they make their statements, and they talk through a bunch of stuff. Yeah, you're welcome, Jan Blackberry. But that's, like I said, very interesting. Very interesting that they've gone down that road, trying to do this slowly, trying to ease it in, which is pretty cool. That's fine. Stabilizes the market. So what does this mean, right? Let's go over to the weekly chart and just take a look at Bitcoin for a second, right? You see Bitcoin's in a place, right, where it's kind of hovering above this 20K level, right? I still have a strong belief, right, that 20K is going to get hit. But with a 0.25 increase, market is basically going to slowly, stabilize. But how long that stabilization is will depend on, how the entire market how the entire market takes this into consideration. You see the dollar has already reacted off this. I'm gonna zoom right in because I know it's a little bit tight for you guys watching on new screens, but you see the downtick here on the dollar. We saw this during the actual announcement, right? You can see the markets are still stable. So these three charts here, these are the indices, yeah? We've got NASDAQ, we've got the Dow Jones, and we've got the S&P 500, and then we've got the dollar index in the bottom right-hand corner. Markets are still stable right now. So think about the reaction that's just happened, right? The US is, US equities, US rates announcements just happened, right? They've literally increased by 0.25%, so we're now at 1.75%. The market was expecting a 0.50 increase, 50 basis points rate hike. That hasn't happened. So it's being absorbed into the market now. We can see that absorption into the market isn't as aggressive as it could have been had it not been already priced in. If you guys have ever heard, oh, it's being priced in, all of this movement that's just happened recently, on Bitcoin and all the cryptocurrency market as a whole, this is pricing in the expectation that the rate announcement was going to be an increase in, obviously the interest rate, and it was the general consensus was 50 basis points, 0.5%, right? But you can see the uptick. So basically, we had the uptick in volume to start with. Wasn't as aggressive as I thought it was going to be. This is pre-announcement. On the announcement, dollar drops, right? And then we're effectively getting a nice reversal on the dollar now. It's recovering and then continuing on its merry little way. Let's go back over to the hourly chart. So the dollar remains strong. And as the dollar's increasing and the interest rates are also increasing, this leads to more inflation, more problems. But ultimately, right now, it's giving everybody a little bit of time to just relax, to chill, to go with the flow, let the markets kind of do whatever they're going to do, and then we'll see what happens. Obviously, the next one's going to be in a while now, so. CNBC reporting, let's have a look here. What were you saying? CNBC reporting 75 basis points here, and you are seeing 25. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Let me do a refresh. Yeah. Oh, sorry. No. It is 0.75. Oh my goodness, man. What is wrong with me today? Yeah, it is 0.75. Sorry, guys. My brain's just not working. I'm looking at this number here for the forecast was going to be 1.5. And obviously, this is the actual previous. Yeah, it's 0.75 basis points. My brain's not working. Just ignore what I'm saying. But one second. Stick that there. Let me get rid of this. Yeah, sorry, 0.75. So 75 basis points. LSPTV con or coin. Yeah, no worries, Tango. See you later, man. Yeah. Just it's 0.75, guys. Just ignore what I'm saying. Dollars running, bonus down. But again, still pretty stable. Still pretty stable. Bit of a downturn now on Bitcoin. Remember, guys, we're looking at the 15-minute chart here on Bitcoin, right? So it's not, if you see some aggressive movement on the chart on a 15-minute chart, don't think, oh my God, it's not like the weekly chart, for example, is never going to reflect anything that you see on the 15-minute chart, right? The 15-minute chart's obviously quite a quick time frame, but either way, it just makes it a little bit easier to see what that immediate reaction is on the market at that time. But to be fair, just looking at the rest of the market, it is still pretty stable. Stable. I'm just running through stable because I know what most of these were before. Yeah, it is pretty stable. It just looks like it wants to stay here for a little while. US equity is still okay. Dollar index still okay. So all in all, what have we seen today, right, with this rate announcement? Now, obviously, in the next 20 minutes, there's going to be the press conference, right? And that's effectively what can really move the market. Yeah, this is something that we have to be really careful of, right? How does that affect the market? Well, look, the higher the interest rate, right, the more aggressive. What it means is this, okay? When you have a rate announcement, the higher the increase, yeah? So let's just say, for argument's sake, from 1% to 2%, that's 100 basis points, yeah? So the more aggressive they are with the increases, yeah, the more they're trying to slow down inflation. So the way that the market can sometimes deal with something like that is the more interest rates go up, okay, the more it costs to borrow money. So the more it costs to borrow money, the more, well, at least in this case, the less people want to borrow. So when interest rates were really, really low, it was very easy to borrow money, obviously, in some cases, in some places, at fractions of a percentage, to pay, to make payments. So borrowing money was basically free. So people were borrowing money, they were using that money, they were investing in the stock markets and so on and so forth. But ultimately, people need to pay this money back, right? So let's be frank, most people don't make money in the stock market or any financial market. The majority of people actually lose money. So what generally tends to happen is that money gets swallowed up or it gets sat there at a loss. People don't want to take that loss, and then those amounts of money are effectively defaulted, or people struggle. And then as it starts to turn, and then the interest rates start to increase because there's so much money in supply, people find it difficult to keep up with their payments because the cost of living is going up, gas, electric's going up. We all know this now, by now in the world, inflation has gone up so much that, and this is globally, of course, that pretty much every country in the world is being affected by inflation. I went to the petrol station, and I think unleaded super, whatever it was, Super Max, or that kind of the 97 unleaded, was 1.98. What's £1.98 per litre. Yeah. Last year I was paying 112. At one point it was actually less than £1 for a litre. So that's pretty insane. Cost of living, is obviously going up pretty insane. And then coming back to kind of this quantitative tightening, what they're trying to do is they're trying to increase the interest rates to slow down inflation, and it's not happening effectively. This inflation problem has become so out of control that when they try to increase too quickly, the markets dump because out of fear, they're like, screw it, I'm going to pull my money out of the markets, put it into something safer, or basically turn it to cash because I want to keep it safe. So yeah, I mean, the increase is very interesting. I think, to be honest, it would have been better if they'd have gone for 100. Just double it and just be done. You know what I mean? That would have affected the market a bit more aggressively. It would have had more of a downturn, but it would have been quicker quicker to just get it out of the way, almost like it just rip the band-aid off, as they say. Yeah, I appreciate that, Cormac. Thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate that. Yeah, if we get the movement. I mean, I'm looking at the chart, James, and I'm not seeing, sorry guys, I'm not seeing any aggressive movement to the downside. You see, Bitcoin's selling off really slowly. Yeah. The problem with this is, again, this is waiting for, and we're going to continue to watch this for a while, but this is basically waiting for the press conference. This is effectively what's happening right now. I want to do this just so we can see the liquidity pool, right? Just there. I'm going to leave the chart like that. I want to see the response. This is the hourly chart we're looking at right now, right? So it's just a slow bleed. We're not seeing anything significant. Yeah, we're waiting for the press conference, Tim. That's at 7:30, so in another sort of 17 minutes. Just to show you quickly. So the press conference is 7:30 GMT time, this one here. And as you can see, it's about an hour long and lasts 2 parts. First part, prepared statement, is read, then the conference is open to press questions. The questions often lead to unscripted answers that create heavy market volatility. And then it just says that it's going to be sort of webcasted and so on. So the point I'm trying to make is, during these press conferences, okay, and for those of you who've ever traded Forex, you'll know, when you have, the Bank of England press conference, and they kind of chat away. During the actual statement itself, fine, they may say something that's a little bit, and the markets react to that. But generally what tends to happen is, as people start to ask questions, and they say they're unscripted answers, but I think a lot of these questions, are vetted before they're asked. During these press conferences, it happens all the time. So they ask their questions. They say whatever they're going to say. How you doing, Hunter? You're right, mate. So they say whatever they're going to say, and in the end, depending on what happens during that press conference, they may say something that spooks the market, or maybe people are just happy with this 0.75. But I think so far the market has accepted 0.75. And remember, and this is super important, I've been saying for days, this has already been priced in. Yeah. A lot of this movement has already been priced in. It was getting priced in. This is why we've had this downturn globally on all global markets, predominantly the US markets, and obviously, the cryptocurrency market, which is where we spend most of our time. This was, kind of happening pre-announcement. Yeah, it's dangerous, man. Bitcoin can be a challenge, to be fair. It's one of those situations where you're like, do you know what? Do I buy it? Do I not? Do I get some? Do I not? But ultimately, in the long run, it's very unlikely that Bitcoin is not going to be around. Obviously, and I stand by what I'm going to say now. I do feel that Bitcoin is going to hit 100K at some point. You guys know that I've never put a time frame on this. I've never said years or a year or 6 months or anything like that. But I believe at some point Bitcoin will hit 100,000. It's reasonable. It makes sense. And all the numbers point to that. And it's a realistic number. It's not like some stupid number. It's realistic, right? So hedging using Bitcoin or using it as a store of value isn't a bad idea. And obviously, the challenge people are facing right now is, do I buy it now? Yeah. Is it cheap enough? Can I get it cheaper? And this is where you have to use a little bit of common sense, and use the tools at our disposal, things like dollar cost averaging, being careful with the money that we have. Yeah, see you later, Dwayne. No worries, man. Let's have a look here. Cormac saying, feel like the market thought it was going to be 75, so it wasn't a surprise. True. Yep, that's exactly what's happened, I think. What might be a surprise is what said in the press conference. That's awful. Yeah. This is it. So imagine the press conference starts. They make a little statement. This is what we think. This is what we're trying to do. Blah blah blah. Some usual stuff. And then maybe somebody asks a question that kind of elicits a response that maybe isn't as welcomed, as what a blanket statement response would be. Because obviously, once they start to get grilled a little bit with questions, the way that they respond to those questions, or it's different. This is any press conference, right? When you have a scripted sheet and you just read it off, it's very easy. You just read and off you go. But when it's somebody's asking you a question, people watch very, very closely. They'll be watching their screens. They'll be watching for every little nuance, every little movement. I'm telling you, there's professionals that do this. They sit there and they look at every little nuance in the way that something's said to try and get a feel for what they are actually saying, not what they are saying. Yeah. So we will see. We will see. I mean, we're about 30 minutes in. I'm going to be sticking around for a little while longer. Yeah. Trying to get inflation down before elections, a bit of a slow reaction from the Fed. Agreed. Wow, this is weird. I'm used to your voice in 2 times speed. Sorry, Chris. I can talk a bit faster if you like, but maybe not that fast. So interesting times. Very interesting times. Let's take a look at Binance. I'll show you chart number 3. These are the levels really that we're kind of waiting for. You know, this is basically gone now. These are the next 2 levels. Right down here, it's sort of 186. Would be the next place that would make sense for Binance to drive to, assuming obviously that we get a little bit of downturn on Bitcoin. Just ignore this one all the way down here. This is just something else. But predominantly, this one here is the key level, the one that I've been paying attention to the most, the 148 level. So yeah. All right, give me 1 second, guys. Just give me 1 sec. All right, I'm back. No, I'm still here. No. I'm not buying crypto. No. To be absolutely clear, you guys know I've told you so many times, with my analysis and my plan and the way that I, conduct myself in the markets, I don't do anything. I used to do it all the time. But I've come to the point in my trading or investing now where I don't do anything unless price, or I'll say it differently. I don't do anything, right, that will create bad habits. Yeah. I told myself you cannot touch the market until Bitcoin hits 20K. It hasn't hit 20K, 20K. And I know some may say, oh, you're just being stupid. That's silly. It's so low. If you're going to do it, you may as well do it now. No, because what ends up happening is if I make a concession now and just say, well, listen, 20,500 is close enough, right? Then what I'm telling myself really is that I'm prepared to break my rules, right? My trading rules. And I don't want to break, I don't want to put myself in a position where I end up doing that and then forcing or kind of enforcing bad habits. It's no good. Yeah, I know, man. I know. It's cool. So we've got about 10 minutes, right? What shall we do for 10 minutes while we're waiting we'll continue obviously to monitor Bitcoin. Let me ask you guys a question, right? Let's get some involvement from you guys. All right. If you had 5 grand, yeah. Nice one, Chris. That's a good number, 19,200. So let me ask you this. If you had $5,000, yeah, or £5,000, whatever, right? 5,000 of your native currency, what would you buy right now if you had a choice? What would you put your money into? I'm curious. Going to be interesting to see the responses here. And it's not a trick question. I'm not saying, oh, I'm not trying to get into your heads and try and figure out, your trading plans. And I'm going to say, nothing like that. I'm just curious to see what people. Me, it's Binance. I'm predominantly looking for Binance. Yeah, I'm really focused on Binance at the moment because it's the chain. It's the predominant chain that we're on. It's the one that we focus the most on. At least I do in this little space that I'm in. Interesting questions. Very interesting. This one has surprised me, to be honest. Yeah, that is a very good answer. Federico. Polkadot's brilliant. I think they're going to be around for a long time. RFTX. Y5ADXX. Evergrow. Finance, Bitcoin. iBonds. Okay. Cardano. Okay. Yep. Nacio's saying nothing. Okay, so interesting. So you guys obviously have your own portfolios, right? And within your portfolios, you have, the ones that you like the most. Maybe you've got a bunch of reflection tokens. Maybe you hold a little bit of Binance. Maybe you are, looking to pick up some Bitcoin, right? But in the end, your responses, as interesting as they are, 10 minutes of pure financial advice, please. Yeah, I'm working on it, sis. So your answers are predominantly based on what you hold right now and what you're trying to do, right? But I'll tell you what I'm trying to do. Yeah, doesn't mean I'm going to pull this off, but this is what I'm trying to do, right? The way I think is, I already got my portfolio, and I don't want to be adding to any of my positions just yet because ultimately, wherever I'm adding, I know I'm going to get taxed pretty heavily, right? Because most of them are reflection tokens. That's what I'm talking about here, the reflection token side of things, right? So I'm going to get taxed on those. And, it doesn't really make sense for me to be purchasing at these levels, especially when anything can happen on Bitcoin, anything can happen on BNB and so on, right? So I've got to be a little bit careful. So the way I say it, or the way I think is, if I start to accumulate Binance, yeah, at really good levels, that puts me in a very strong position because as Binance starts to go back up, it obviously increases, that goes without saying. But as Binance starts to go back up, I have more to play with on the projects that I'm looking to add to my positions, right? So let's say I've got 5 positions. They're not all, here's the key, right? They're not all going to be moving up in exactly the same way as Binance does. So really think about what I'm saying, right? You've got, I don't know, what, 5 projects, 10 projects, whatever. You're looking at all of these projects, and predominantly the ones that are doing okay, they will generally be okay with the general strength of the market. Binance goes up, these projects start to move a little bit, right? But there will be projects out there that are absolutely solid, but still aren't moving. But I have a bunch of Binance now, right, that I purchased, say, at 185, just for argument's sake. I'm not saying I'm going to get that price, but I picked up Binance at 185, yeah, which is now, say, 250. I've increased my Binance. I've made a pretty decent amount of money, and now I have more bang for my buck when I'm putting it into these projects that are not moving as much as you would expect them to with that movement of Binance. So you have a lot more, depending on where you're focused. Yeah. So some people it's Bitcoin. Maybe you're stacking Bitcoin. Maybe you're stacking Ethereum. But for most people, depending on where your focus is, will depend on what chain you're looking to predominantly put most of your money, right? And then the rest is just down to patience and being smart, being clever, and just waiting for that opportune moment. Like I said, we can look at Bitcoin all day long, right? And you can see we are so close to that 20K level right now, 20,580. You would think, right, that we would have hit that level by now. 500 points or $500 on Bitcoin is like, it's not even a tick, it's nothing, right? So it's very interesting that we haven't hit that psychological number. 20,000 is a huge psychological number. I believe that we should have hit that by now. So I like to pay attention to all of these things. And try to plan ahead as much as I possibly can. Forget crypto right now. That's a bucket with a hole. Okay. The stock market is filled with blood, my friends. Use it to buy the dump on the crypto market when it comes back. Let me read that again. Yeah. So what you're saying is, okay, yeah, which makes sense. You're basically saying, Azura, when the market starts to rebound, that's the best place to be sort of considering jumping back into the cryptocurrency market, which is that's not a bad shout, to be fair. Nice one, Chris. Chris is saying, been in cash since November, looking to moving into Bitcoin, Polkadot, and Atom. Yeah, having your money in cash. You guys, obviously, in the Discord know that I told you. I've kind of moved my money to fiat a while ago. Actually, but it was in stable coins, and then obviously with what happened with Terra, I just put it all into GBP pounds. Just waiting for that opportune moment now to kind of jump on. 137. Wow, nice one, guys. Thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate that. I'm going to save that. I think we've topped it. Smashing some records tonight, man. Yeah, you will always need BNB. Predominantly on the Binance Smart Chain, most of the stuff that you're going to be doing is going to be BNB related. Oh, we're 13 and a half BTC. Yeah, I know it's slow in it, man. It is quite slow. No, the rates have already been announced. Reva, rates have already been announced. 75 basis points. We went from 1%. I made a mistake. I said 0.25, but we went from 1% to 1.75%. So right now we're waiting for the press conference, which is going to be what's going to start in 2 minutes. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to affect the market immediately. They're going to make a statement first and then obviously open up for questions. So the next hour is going to be interesting. If we get absolutely nothing, then all of this was expected and it's already been priced in. That's a 50-50 situation on moving lower or going higher. Not an ideal situation to be in, to be honest. I would much rather see some movement today, even through the night, whatever. I want to wait. I wouldn't be a bad idea for, I wouldn't mind if I woke up tomorrow morning and I saw Bitcoin down at, say, 18,000 and making its way back up. I wouldn't mind that, because at least it's something we can work with. We can look at it and say, do you know what? Something's happening. We're starting to get some movement in the markets. We're getting that final push potentially to put in some semblance of a bottom, and then we can start to kind of move forward from there. Yeah, thanks, Alan. I appreciate that, mate. I'd use 5K to pay gas and electric for the next 3 months. Yeah, I don't even think it'd last flipping 3 months. It's disgusting, isn't it, what's happening with gas and electric? Oh, man, shocking. Why is BUSD down to 0.78? My guess is you are looking at the Swissborg app in pounds, or you're looking at that in pounds, not in USD. Because if BUSD was down to 0.78, we would have a nightmare on our hands. I'm going to check. I'll check anyway, but I'm pretty sure you're looking at it in pounds, to be honest. Yeah, it's at 99. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll check anyway, just in case. You never know. But yeah, that's definitely, you're looking at it in pounds, or pence in this case. Yeah, it's all right, mate. No worries. No problem. Yeah. Same. I've got it set to pounds in the Swissborg app. Having that in the Swissborg app is gonna, oh man, it's so much easier. Just throw all of the BUSD and reflections over there, and then you can just kind of move stuff around. It's so much better. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Jam is saying petrol is shocking as well, man. I put 25 quid in at the pump 4. He's been really specific as well. Pump number 4, guys. It wasn't like number 3 or 2. It's like number 4. Yeah, we're just about to get me to pump 5. That is absolutely true. You know what I mean? It's like you. I mean, I did the same. I put a couple of so press conferences just started, just so we're aware, right? And I'm going to hang around for a little bit. Obviously, I know we're kind of messing around a little bit now, just going through some comments and stuff. But you know, I'm going to hang around for a little while just to see. And again, I'm here to answer any questions that you guys have. But yeah, I used to put £20 in the mini, and it was like halfway. You know, now it's not even going to quarter. It's insane, absolutely insane. Yeah, agree, Hunter. Interesting to yep. It will be interesting to see how the Fed announcement affects each of the big three individually. Absolutely, and that will give an indication as to which one, or at least how, you know, those so big Bitcoin, you know, Ethereum, Binance, and so on are their current standing in the market, basically. Can you not stream it on the channel right now? I don't know, you know. I don't know. Let me have a look. Yeah, we get it. Let me see. Can you guys hear what he's saying? Yeah. I don't think you could. It's fine. One second. Okay. Yeah, no, it's fine. And to be honest, it's kind of cutting in and out as well, to be fair. So yeah, don't worry, guys. It's fine. If I was streaming on OBS, it would have been easier because I could have just turned on all, you know, desktop audio, and it would have been fine. But basically, he's just saying that they're highly, you know, they want to like get inflation to 2% objective, and that they're paying attention, and they're trying blah 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 blah. Yeah. Anyway, so basically he's just rambling on about, their targets, what they're trying to achieve, pretty much what we've already heard already. We're not hearing anything that's new. We're not hearing anything that's special. We're just being told they're trying to get inflation under control. That is really the crux of it. Trying to get inflation under control, pretty much it, right? So yeah, the link to the actual press conference, sure. So here's the link. You can see, guys, that I'm not a professional. Yeah, I'm here to talk realistic numbers, man. Not to. I'm terrible at streaming. Once I get my studio, that's it. Things are going to change, man. Yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense. Nope, they're not. They're not. So, to be honest, look, I think based on what we're seeing so far, right, we've had this rate hike. The markets have, already priced this in by the looks of things. Things are going okay. The market's stabilized a little bit, pretty much across the board as well. US indices, you can see there's been a little bit of movement, on US indices over the last sort of 10 minutes, but it's not insane. We haven't seen an aggressive sell-off. We haven't seen an aggressive rally. We're just seeing a little bit of movement on some of these. And like I said, it's almost like we knew what was going to happen. We were aware of what's going to happen. Big money's pricing all of this in anyway. A lot of people pulled their money out of the cryptocurrency market and the stock market. That's not finding its way back into either of those two markets. That money is finding its way into commodities, bonds, safer havens, in some of these more volatile markets. And then ultimately, by the time all of this kind of filters through, we have a long way to go, guys. This isn't going to be just kind of a quick fix. Yeah, the Fed can't just increase unless they went stupid, unless they did something absolutely insane and caused an immediate sell-off, and just broke everything, so we can just start to recover, which is very unlikely that that's going to happen. It's very likely this is going to get dragged on for at least 6 months, to the remainder of the year, possibly into the first quarter of next year, before we see any semblance of something normal again. Yeah, I appreciate that, Brendan, man. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. And look, these I know you guys don't really care, or maybe you do. I don't know, but the streams will become a little bit more refined. The reason I use StreamYard at the moment is because it's easier. Yeah, OBS has a little bit of a few issues here and there, and there's some things that I want to do with OBS. I've got the Stream Deck coming, very soon, and then I can kind of really get everything set up the way that I want it to be set up, and then it's just going to make my life so much easier. To be able to monitor everything all on one sort of platform, as opposed to having to constantly bounce around in windows and stuff. Then it's going to be really refined, because ultimately I'm planning for, say, 2,000-3,000 viewers at a time, and I want to be able to manage all of that in a way that makes sense and present some really high quality streams. I know the information's there, I know the education's there, I know obviously what I deliver is very good. I just want to deliver that in a way that you guys deserve, not in a way, because it's all in my head, it needs to come out to you guys. It's not about me. I love doing this anyway. I could stay on for hours. Yeah, maybe, Hunter. I'll figure it out. I mean, like I said, I'm going to be jumping over to stream to OBS anyway. I would have just turned the desktop audio on stream on OBS, and you guys would have heard the stream. I've also, what I'm going to have to do downstairs, I know this is a bit random now, but I'm going to have to bring the Cat 6 up. I'm going to put some Cat 6 all the way through, and then into the back outside, and then obviously back through into the room that I'm in, so I've got like a solid connection. Appreciate that, Azura. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, Vic. Expected. It was expected. Um, yeah, once he puts it down and then starts to get some questions, maybe we see something a little bit different. Maybe somebody throws a curveball in there and he has to answer it. Um, maybe panics it, whatever. Maybe we see something, that affects the market. We get a little bit more, a little bit more movement. It's getting a little bit antsy. You can say, whoa, there we go. Boom. So here's the thing. That is, let me see. 1 second, guys. I need to focus for a sec. So that was very interesting. For me, it doesn't matter what he's saying, just so you know. Yeah. The reaction tells us everything. So that's 1.4, it's 83. So yeah, so that was a pretty decent jump on the market, pretty decent jump on Bitcoin, but nothing spectacular. We literally went from 20,500 to 21,500. It's just a bump of 1,000. And the range that we're stuck in is very, very tight. You can see it wants to go. Let me just drop down to the 5 minutes, see what that looks like. That will never happen, man. If I can find a way to bump you guys, I will. Don't worry, man. I remember everybody that was here at the beginning. Trust me. You guys know that by now. 6A, yeah. I will, Hunter. Yeah, definitely. I know, Alan. I want to see 150 on BNB. I do and I don't for obvious reasons with RFTX. But to be fair, I'd like it to just snap down there, give everybody about 10 minutes to engage. Do what they need to do, and then go on its merry little way. That would be fantastic. So if the market's listening, yes, please. Yeah, it was a surprise. I expected, to be honest, like I said, I expected today that we were going to see at least 20K, right? But I wasn't expecting some insane movement or anything like that, because ultimately, as I've been saying for a little while, this has been priced in. For quite some time, last couple of weeks or so. It was obvious that we were going to get a rate hike. It was obvious it was going to happen. This is why the market's been pricing this in for some time, and this is why we've ended up in a situation that we're in today, where we're not really seeing some insane movement. I've sat through some FOMC announcements and some non-farm payroll announcements, for example, that have been so explosive in the forex market that it's literally untradeable. As liquid as it is, you can get in and out of stuff, but you could literally, the spread would open up, in some cases by 50%. I mean, it was insane. It would be like, it's just crazy. Those aggressive, really volatile non-farm payroll events or FOMC events, they're just not there anymore. We don't see these types of aggressive reactions that we used to see years ago. What we're seeing now instead is a very methodical, very slow, calculated effort weeks in advance. And this is why we're not seeing some of the reactions, that you would normally expect to see during some of these pretty aggressive events, right? Bad day for leverage, yeah. It's a bad day for leverage every day, man. The market's very highly leveraged up at the minute. Adders, to quickly sum up what happened today. It was I think the market's priced all of this in. So the 0.75 basis point hike, i.e. the interest rate has gone up from 1% to 1.75%. In terms of good news or bad news, I think because they were expecting it, it's neither. I think it's just a case of stabilizing the market a little bit, which, to be fair, if that was the intended result, that's what's happened. And it stabilized the market for now. And hopefully it stays like this for the next month. If we can stabilize where we are for the next month, or even start to rally a little bit, that would be the best case scenario, right? To get a little bit of movement now on Bitcoin and start to stabilize around the 24 to 26,000 and stay there for a little while. What happens if that happens? it will be a great opportunity to be able to see the nuances, upside or downside. We'll be able to see basically what price is doing. Is it, just kind of rallying? And we'll be able, right. I'll say it like this: for those of you that know, we will be able to do what we did here, yeah, while we were watching all of this, to decide whether or not we were in a rally in a downtrend, or whether this was going to be that kind of turning point, yeah. If you guys remember, so we'll be able to do exactly the same thing down here, and it shows that very small, subtle nuance, right? As price is picking up, buy side dealing off, sell side dealing off, and then you can see that imbalance. So whichever side of the market it really wants to go on, you see the imbalance, and then you start to see that weakness way before it happens, and then we can say yes. And this is part of the reason why I can, call the levels that I call all the time. Yeah, you've said here, Mike, BTC goes up quickly now. Yeah, not really. I mean, we're seeing a tiny bit of movement. Remember, just to show you how little has happened on Bitcoin. Okay, so right here was the announcement. We've basically gone down, up in a very, very tight range, a little bit of movement down, and then we've come back down again. We're talking fractions. We're not seeing anything substantial. We've gone literally from 20,500 up to about top end 22,370. It's such a tight range, such a tight range. So yeah, we're not seeing anything. We're not seeing anything. Again, this was all priced in, and I think as well, just be mindful. A lot of this movement generally tends to happen throughout the evening, throughout the night. So going, throughout sort of the early hours of the morning, probably in the next sort of, we'll call it 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours, we may start to, to see some increase, in volumes. We do generally tend to get a little bit more volatility throughout the night. Is it worth a 3x long? Oh man, no comment. I'd stay away from it. I'd stay away from it, to be fair. I'm not doing anything until it hits 20K. And even then, I'll still have to assess. It's not like I'm just going to go piling into the market. Crypto Pants, would you expect this to turn into a small bull run, or expect the bear market to continue till, say, September, October? I think the overall market's probably going to continue this kind of bearish sentiment, this bearish tone. It's going to take a while to turn that around, I think. It's going to take a while to turn that around. But in terms of a small bull run, or a little bit of momentum to the upside, again, maybe we get a little bit of movement. I think the bracket would be between sort of 24,000, 26,000. If we can kind of get there and stay there for a little while, then yeah, in terms of expecting that, it's hard to say. It is hard to say. It's more of a reactionary or confirmation based idea now. We wait for it to happen, then we can kind of react and see what happens. Because, one of the things that I've always maintained in my trading is I'm not looking to take a guess on whether the market's going to move up or not, right? You kind of look at this movement and you say, oh man, what if I just grabbed it here? I could have made that little bit of movement. Very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Unless you're a professional, you know how to scalp, and that is your bread and butter. And this is something that you've been doing for 10 years plus. It's very risky taking trades like that in the market. That's a very interesting statement, Brendan. You said access to RXTF. I think you mean RFTX. Pre-sale will suffice. There is no access. There's no whitelists. There's no private sales. There's nothing. It's all open to the public, as fair as you can possibly make it. It was always going to be like that. Yeah, Shane. Yeah, there's some decisions to be made, obviously, down at these levels. We have time, guys. The one thing that I want to leave you with before I shoot off, remember, we have time. One of the biggest problems in trading or investing, right, is this FOMO, this fear of missing something, right? And I can tell you from experience, and having spoken to extremely successful investors and extremely successful traders, who I can point to and say, that guy right there, made 35 million this year. Yeah, really serious investors, serious traders who move a lot of money around. And the one thing that I can absolutely attest to is If you can remove that one factor, this fear of missing out, right? You will make so much more money, right, than you ever would FOMOing into stuff. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Honestly, I really, really can't. You have to be able to engage in the markets, right, in a calm, collected way with a plan, yeah, with an absolute plan. When the moment you feel the impulse to jump into something, ask yourself, like really ask yourself and break it down. Should I really be jumping into the market right now? What is it about this that makes me want to get in? And if the answer is I don't want to miss the move, yeah, force yourself not to get in. Find another way to get into the market. Don't FOMO in. Do it from an emotionless point of view. FOMO is an emotion that has caused more pain, in financial markets than pretty much anything else, I'd say, besides the manipulation that happens, obviously. Think about all of the reflection tokens, right, that people FOMO'd into at the top. Yeah. Don't be these people that FOMO in at the top. I've done it, and this is why I can say that, and not offend anybody, because I've done it plenty of times in the past, So, guys, listen, man, thank you so much for kind of hanging around for an hour and 6 minutes. I mean, that's I know it probably didn't seem like an hour and 6 minutes, but I really, really appreciate you guys turning up. Really appreciate you guys smashing, the numbers. I think we hit 138 at one point, which is absolutely phenomenal. And going forward, I think it's just a question now of, and you can see, look, the markets are starting to recede a little bit. We're getting back to kind of nowhere land. You know what I mean? A little bit of reaction up and down. Basically, what you're seeing on the charts right here is, the market makers just making a little bit of money off retail traders. That's it. There's no real tangible information here, that tells us something spectacular is going to happen, right? Price basically started here, on the announcement. It went down to here, it went up there, and now it's coming back to pretty much where it started. So what have we really accomplished today in terms of this announcement? Nothing, because it was pretty much already priced in. That's the key takeaway. Yeah. So remember, this is where price started, as I'm showing you here. I'll zoom right in. This is where price started. This is where price went. This is where price went. And now we're effectively coming back to where we started. Yeah. So it is a neutral reaction to the rate hike. And we're not really seeing anything outside of that. All right. So awesome, guys. Appreciate it. So I'll leave it at that. And I'll be around usual places. I've got a meeting in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to be on that for a little while. Yeah. And then I'll be around as usual afterwards. All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by. And I'll chat to you guys really, really soon. Take care.